Hey again everyone, so I'm now going to be doing a book tag that the book Misty created. This is her first tag, so I thought I would give this a go, and it's her 2011 book tag part 1 from January to June-ish. So here we go. Question 1 is, book you're an evangelist for. The book that I praise to everybody that will still actually listen to me is Nevermore by Kelly Cray. I loved it. It was just so different, and even though it's like quite a big book, it was amazingly fast. I loved the references to Poe. I loved that the main guy was a goth. I loved that he was sarcastic and witty and would come out with things that I would say. Amazing. Question 2 is most surprisingly good book. For me, it's Divergent by Veronica Roth, and it's not a surprisingly good book. It was a surprisingly amazing book that I am in love with. Maybe not that far, but you know what I mean. Because it got me to look at a whole new genre. Dystopian wasn't something I'd really considered would be for me before, but Veronica Roth did it in such an amazing way that I thought, yes it is, and I love it. Question 3 is the biggest disappointment so far. I have 2 books that are major disappointments so far, and the disappointment is because I don't normally buy books that I don't like to some degree, but these were just such major disappointments for me. And the first one I read in the early part of this year, and that's Fallen by Lauren Kay. I know loads of people that really love this series, but for me, like, the ending, the last 20 pages or so, was really good and really fast paced, but it needed to be that good all the way through, and it just wasn't. It was painful to read. The second biggest disappointment, this is actually the biggest disappointment for me, was Waken to Me by Lisa Catch, and this is a disappointment because it should have been everything that I would like in a book, because I like historical books, I like paranormal, and I like romance, so this should have been all 3 rolled into one, but the historical vastly outweighed everything else, to the point where I thought I was reading historical texts on the Knights of Templar, which wasn't what I signed on for. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like history, but that's not what I wanted to read. Question 4 is the funniest. This was quite hard because there weren't many books that were really funny. Like, parts of Perfect Chemistry and Rules of Attraction had funny moments in them, but they probably weren't the funniest. I chose Jessica's Guide to Dating on the Dark Side just because the whole thing was just quirky, and it wasn't like laugh out loud funny, but it was funny, and I really liked it, and I'm looking forward to reading the next one, which comes out like next year, I think. But that was really good. Question 5 is favourite cover, published between January and June. I was going to choose Halo by Alexandra Odonetto, because even though it came out last year, it was republished in a smaller paperback in June, but I thought that would be cheating, so I actually chose Die For Me by Amy Plum, because that really is just a lovely cover. I like the pink and the black, and even the Paris in the background. So the next question is favourite character. This is really hard because there are so many great characters. But I think my favourite character has been Tuck from Rules of Attraction, Kiara's gay best friend. He was just so funny. He really was. I just loved him, and putting him with in scenes with Carlos, who's like this really sort of masculine Mexican guy, it was just, as you can imagine, hilarious scenes. The next question, number 7, is series that's new to you. The series that's new to me that I'm really liking is the Morganville Vampires that are just behind me here. I'm up to book 3, and I think the first one was published in like 2006, but I've only just started reading them, and I'm really liking them so far. So yeah, I was just trying to think if there was any else. They're probably the biggest series that's new to me. Question 8 is most beautifully written. I struggled with this question, but in the end I chose Beautiful Creatures by Cami Garcia and Margaret Stoll. I read this in Aprilish, I think, and it got me back into reading en masse, like constantly. It got me back into literally devouring books. And what I liked about it was that it was written in the main male character's perspective, like the whole way through, whereas some of other books are mostly the girl's perspective, with sometimes his thrown in for a page or two, or it tends to be like contemporary realistic fiction that does alternating chapters perspective, whereas this kept his perspective the whole way through, and I just thought it was really well done, and it was great. Yeah, it was great. Question 9 is most thought-provoking or book that grew on you. I did or book that grew on me, and that was They're Beautiful by Yvonne Ween. At first I didn't think I was going to like it. It took a while for it to get going, and I was like, do I like the main character? Do I like the writing style? I just felt like it didn't have a lot going for it when I started reading it, but it really picked up and I really liked it. I mean, there was supposed to be a few surprises, but for me I didn't really think they were surprises, and I thought Rennie, for someone that's supposed to be quite clever, she should have clued on, even though the reader is supposed to clue in before. I was just like, that's just so not realistic. But it did grow on me and I think that was because it had a great male character in it, Dante, and the actual storyline was quite unique in a way. I hadn't read stuff on it before. Actually, Die For Me by Amy Plum is quite similar, but this came out first. So, yeah, this grew on me. 10 is book you'd like to see made into a movie. This is quite hard because sometimes I think that would make a great movie, but then I think if they actually acquired the rights to the book, they would completely destroy an awesome book, and then I would be majorly pissed, really. But books I think would make a great movie, I thought Starcrossed by Josephine Angelini, that I just reviewed, I thought that would be quite good. But the one I would like to see made into a movie would be Perfect Chemistry by Simone Alcalez, just because it's a really great contemporary YA that would make a really cute chick flick, and it's almost like a modern West Side Story kind of. Same goes for Rules of Attraction. I really like them. Yeah. And the last question, question 11, is your wish list for the second half of 2011. My wish list is continually growing. It's literally like it's alive. There are loads, absolutely loads. But if I have to really narrow it down, I would say Layla and the Boy Next Door by Stephanie Perkins, which comes out the 29th of September. I haven't read Anna and the French Kiss yet, but I know I'm going to like it. I just know. So I really want to get that. Angelfire by L.A. Weatherly. In the US it's Angel Burn. Yes, and that is my favourite book, so I'm really looking forward to the sequel to that, which comes out in October. It originally they said it was like being released June, but then it got put back, and I have never been so upset. Beautiful Chaos by Cami Garcia and Margaret Stoll, book 3 in the Caster Chronicles. I want to get hold of that. I think I'm putting off reading Beautiful Darkness until I have that. And Chain Reaction by Simone Alcalez, which comes out in August, but I probably won't get it then because it's hardback and it won't match my other paperbacks. And I'm quite terrible like that. Oh well. So that's me done. Thanks to the book rat Misty for doing a great tag, and thank you for watching, and have a really